Okay, so in lesson 1, we talked about Excel and spreadsheets and creating lists of information in an Excel document or a spreadsheet. And now in lessons 2 and 3, we look at databases. And for databases, OpenOffice has a program called Base. And there we go, OpenOffice Base, or we also have Microsoft Access. And I'm going to kind of take you on a little tour through Microsoft Access here in a minute, but I do not expect you guys to create a database yourself. That's actually a lot of work, and I think it's kind of a waste of time for you to even tinker with such a small portion of this type of software. So I'm going to let you skip over that part. So if you're reading through the text, make sure you don't need to follow along and create a database along with the instructions, but I will show you kind of what a database looks like. So to start off with though, a database is a collection of data organized to provide quick and easy access to information stored within the database. A lot of businesses use this to track customer information, product and sales information. It's easy for them to look up maybe contact information for customers or SKU numbers for certain products that they're selling, or inventory for products, and so on. So, and then most of these are relational databases, and this just makes it easy to group related data and form relationships between two different pieces of data. So you can search within your database based on certain criteria, and then it generates a report for you. So let's go over a couple of the terms that we'll use when we're talking about databases. We put our information into tables, and then the tables are organized into rows and columns. It looks a lot like a spreadsheet when you see the format of it. We input the information into fields. So each field, like if you're doing your customer's contact information, name would be a field, address would be a field, city would be a field, and so on. And then all those fields together would make up the record for that individual. So the record is the group of related data that is stored in fields. So one person's name, address, telephone number, city, state, zip makes up one record. And that's usually, when we look at the table view, it's an entire row in the table. We also have what are called forms. Forms is kind of the format or the style that you'll see pop up when you go to enter in your data into a table. It kind of allows for an easy entry format. That way it's just easier for maybe the entire workplace to use, even if they're not pros at with that program or Access or whatever program they're using. Then queries is a way for you to ask the database certain questions. So you create a query, and within that query, you're searching through the database to match those certain things that you're looking for in your query. So it's kind of a lot like Google. When you're using keywords in Google to look up certain information, it matches information with your search keywords, and that's the same thing that a query does within a database in Microsoft Access. And then it can also, after you run a query, you usually generate a report, and the report kind of displays the information that you're looking for from the table after you've ran a query. So, and then finally, the main part in the database is the primary key. So the primary key is a field within the table that has the unique identifier for each piece of data. So a lot of times, and that's just kind of a lot of hoopla for basically record number 1, number 2, number 3. Basically, it's an ID number. And so that way, if you do have several records with some of the same information, that primary key or that ID number still keeps them separate. So if you have 2 John Smiths in your database, the identification number, the primary key, will be able to identify them as separate records. So before we move into events, let's take a quick peek at Access. So this is Microsoft's version of a database software. And this is an example template that I pulled up that was already made in Access. So what you would be doing in this assignment, which I cut out for you, is basically creating forms like this. So if we went to Form View, this is the form that would pull up if you were to search someone's name. So then you could add a new contact. You fill out this form with all the information that's required and save it, and that would add that person's information to your contact. And then this is the table that we talked about, that your information then is put into each line. Well, let me just real quickly fill out one of these forms. Oops, might help if I spell my name right. Let's see. Open my home phone. This will be the last one I fill out. Okay, save and close. So then here's, it has my record then stored along the side here. So if I click on it, you can see my information comes up. Yes, then you'll see my information comes up in the table. Here's my identification or my primary key and record number 1. So that's what then I could generate a report by running a query. So this is what a database looks like. Again, a lot of businesses use this for tracking customer contact information, different things like that. It's actually, there's so much you can do with this, and I don't even, like what your text has you do doesn't even touch the surface, so I kind of don't see the point in having you put a database together. So you're welcome. I'm scratching that part out of our assignment, but feel free. I mean, you guys should all, if you have Microsoft Office, you should have access to Access. Go around and kind of play around in there and get yourself familiar if you'd like. That would be a great asset to have on your resume, that you're familiar with Access. Okay, then moving on. After databases, we talk about special events. So a special event is a one-time or occasional company event, that should say, that's different from the normal routines of the company. So you could have internal events. Maybe once a month they have like a monthly birthday celebration for all the birthdays of that month, or maybe they have external events that involves people outside the company. This could be customers, potential customers, the public. Maybe they're doing like some sort of PR to get their company name out there. And a lot of times this falls on the marketing staff's shoulders. It's you're marketing the company, you're marketing the event, and so a lot of times it's up to the marketing professionals to put these together, get them organized, and make sure they launch. So when you're going to plan an event, you should also always have a goal in mind. What's the purpose of this event? Are we raising money? Are we celebrating birthdays? What's the goal? Is it company morale? That type of thing. You should always have a budget in place. Know how much you have to spend. If it is something where you're trying to promote or get some more sales for the company, you want to make sure that this isn't costing the company more than the sales that you would generate out of this event. Then you want to make a checklist and a whole list of to-dos to make sure that you get everything done in preparation for planning this event. Assign tasks. Hopefully you'll have a party planning or event planning committee, and you'll be the one to delegate tasks to each individual, making sure everyone does their part. And then make a schedule of events, of not only the events for that night, but when you need to have these the planning tasks accomplished by. So one thing that is included in this assignment 7S, I believe, is, let's pull up Google. You're going to create an event on calendar, and I sign into my Alamfear account. So what you're going to do is click on calendar, sign into your Google account, and click on the calendar tab up above, and you'll notice that you'll see a calendar form. Let me slide this over a little bit, and you can either view it by week, you can view it by day, and it has each hour to the side. You can view it by a month, you can view it as 4 days, however you choose. So what your assignment is, whatever day you open and go to do this assignment, you're supposed to schedule an event for the next day. And for this particular assignment, we are creating an event. So I'm going to click on, I want the between 10 and 11 a.m. And then I want to click on edit event. That kind of pulls me up into this edit form. And we're going to call this company event discussion. Make sure that it's on the following day at 10 a.m., between 10 to 11 a.m., where we're going to hold this in this small conference room. And it says in the description field, type a description of the event. For example, you could type, let's meet to talk about the upcoming company event. So under description, let's meet to talk about the upcoming company event. And then, well, the next step would be then to add guests. So we're going to click the add guests, and this is where you would just simply type in their email addresses for the guests that you would like to invite. So my email address, you must invite me. Sorry if you don't want me to go, but I need to be able to get you a grade. So add alamphir12@gmail.com as your guest, and that will link it then to my calendar. And to send the invitation, let's see. Oh, we need to hit save. And then you see it appear right there on my calendar. So we can click on that, and I can go back in then, and I can see if anyone's RSVP'd to this event and how many guests they're bringing, if they added a note. So kind of cool. And as you can see, someone else already sent an invite to me, so I'll be excited to RSVP to that event. So that's Google Calendar, and that is part of your assignment. We're in section 8. I think I misspoke and said section 7 earlier, but this is for assignment 8S. So you'll be doing the Excel document in the first video. You're skipping over the database project, and you're moving into, you're creating an event in Google Calendar and inviting me. So that should be it for section 8. Let me know if